Thank you very much. Welcome to this press briefing about the Ministerial Committee. We have the Minister for ICT, and we have the other supporting ministries. We have devolution, we have public service, we have defense, all of them in the interministerial committee that has been taking part in preparation for this year's census. So today's press briefing is basically to inform the country about our preparedness, and each of the ministers will speak to the specific role that they have been pushing in this interministerial preparation. And at this juncture, I would want to invite the owner of the project, who coordinates everybody else, the CS for National Treasury, CSE attorney, to give a brief, and then invite his colleagues to also give their segments of the brief. CSE attorney.
That enable us to come up with the enumeration areas. And census are usually done, the count is done within the confines of a national boundary. Unfortunately, those people who are out of the country at that time will not be physically counted. But information regarding family members who are here, they will be asked whether they are members of the family who have migrated to other countries or gone to other regions outside the boundaries of Kenya. So that we only count people who are within the country. But regarding pastoralists, I know this is a very difficult time for them, given that the prevailing drought has made quite a number of them move to the neighboring countries. We are now appealing to them to take this matter very seriously, because it's a matter that comes once in 10 years. If they can now move back and take advantage of the 1 week window, they don't have to be there on that night, but they can, as long as, if they are there, because 24th is the reference night. And since earlier data for planning has been captured, it's important for them to take advantage and move back to the country on the night of 24th so that they are fully included. Preparatory activities for the 2019 Kenya Population and Housing Census due to commence the night of 24th and continue up to 31st August this year. This is a culmination of a careful, systematic planning that started way back in 2016, which started from cartographic mapping that established 129,123 enumeration areas, and later conducted a pilot census exercise in August last year. This indeed tested adequacy of logistics, personnel, accuracy of the maps, as well as admissibility of the questionnaires and other data capture applications. I also wish to confirm that if all systems go, as all necessary personnel for the exercise have been recruited, trained, and deployed to their enumeration areas. The training of field census personnel started with the training of trainers on 15 July 2019 and ended with the last group, the enumerators, on 20th August 2019. It is imperative to note that a total of 129,123 enumerators have been deployed to cover conventional households, while additional 9,000 enumerators have been trained and deployed to cover special populations, like in the restricted areas, prisons, police cells, travelers and hospitals, and will further be used as reserves in case of any of the enumerators dropouts. The enumerators are further supported by the village and the community elders in conduct of the exercise to ensure smooth entry and wholesome delivery of the same. In addition, all materials to be used during the enumeration exercise have been distributed to various county headquarters for onward distribution to the census personnel. The mobile devices and accessories have also been delivered to all the counties and will be distributed to all census personnel. Other materials are expected to be distributed to the census personnel before the end of the day, today. On publicity and advocacy, I wish to inform that sensitization of the various groups and the general public on the census have been going on progressively. An elaborate plan on the targeted groups and the key messages have been developed, and various user groups briefed accordingly. This briefing will continue throughout the census period, and we have set up a center, a communication center, that will be sending out messages on an hourly basis to confirm the exercise is ongoing as planned, and should there be any challenges, this will be brought to the attention of the people in charge for immediate mitigation. It is envisaged that preliminary results will be released 3 months after the end of the exercise, while the basic reports of the census are expected to be released within 6 months. The final detailed analytical disaggregated reports will be released within 1 year after the census enumeration. At this stage, I also want to state, in the interest of transparency and openness, I wish to state that of the total budgeted figure of 18.5 billion for the exercise, it's important to clarify that this amount is spread over 5 years, from the financial year 2016 to the financial year 2020. The detailed breakdown of costs as per budgeted activities in cash shillings are as follows. At the design, development, and planning of the census process, about 255 million was used. In carrying out the cartographic mapping exercise, which was done 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, over 3 billion was used. In the area of publicity and advocacy, about 500 million was used. In the conduct of the pilot census, about 118 million was used, while the main enumeration area that will be taking place will cost us about 10 billion. ICT equipment and softwares will consume also another 3 billion. During the analysis and dissemination, we'll also need about 200 million for the exercise. It's important to know that the biggest proportion of the budget goes towards emolument of the census personnel, who include mapping assistants, enumerators, supervisors, and also payment of allowances for local administrators and village elders, as well as purchasing of the mobile devices. It is gratifying to note that the utilization of this budget resulted in direct and indirect benefits to the economy. The first was the transfer of technology to assembly of devices by 2 local universities, because the devices that are going to be used for this exercise are actually manufactured here in Kenya by 2 of our universities. So you can imagine the level of technology transfers, and that these devices will later on be used for other exercise that's going to happen in the country. Additionally, it's going to create over 200,000 jobs. The government wishes to assure all Kenyans that the information provided will be treated with utmost confidentiality in conformity with the UN fundamental principles of official statistics and as stipulated in the Statistics Act 2006. All residents are encouraged during the exercise to cooperate with the teams that will visit them for the census enumeration, and thus every person should provide accurate information during the period. I also wish to state that all the available resources have been already sent to the various counties for payment of the individuals, the personnel involved, and for any attendant cost. So nobody should complain because money has been transferred. And for at the end of the exercise, the individual enumerators and other census personnel will be paid directly through their bank accounts that have already been provided to assistance on their own accord. About the village elders and local administrators, payments will be done through the census, county census committee, and money have already been transferred to this effect. At this stage, I now want to appeal to all Kenyans to consider this as a patriotic duty and cooperate with the people involved in the exercise, in the enumeration, so that we realize maximum result. We are therefore saying to all Kenyans, jitokeze uhesabike. Asante sana.
that your data and information is safe and secure. We have ensured that we have several security measures that we have put in place to ensure that all the information that we collect is not only stored in a secure place, but we have full redundancy. The equipment that is being used, which are 7-inch tablets, these devices, as you've heard, were assembled locally, and they have our software, which we have developed within the country. And therefore, we are able to ensure that all the data, as it is transmitted, as it is processed, is actually done within our control. And we assure you that we have the full capacity to ensure full security. In order to ensure that the transmission of data is only coming from those devices, we have created a special network. And that network will only be used to send the data to all the data centers. You will not have other devices out there being able to transmit into our servers. So we're very sure that also the quality of the data coming is only coming from our own sources. The mobile devices are protected, as I've mentioned, and you cannot, the enumerators cannot change the software that is already there, and therefore we are fairly certain that the data we get will be the correct data, and that we will be monitoring on a continuous basis everything that is being transmitted, the quality, and ensuring that it is in good order. I also wish to, at this point, mention that we have sufficient data storage to ensure that all the data for all the citizens that is coming through will actually be stored in our multiple data centers. The requirement at the moment is for about 3 terabytes of data, but we have capacity now for over 40 terabytes. So we have more than enough capacity that is required. We have 3 data sites that we've put in place where we have our data primary site and 2 redundancy sites. And these are replicated throughout, so that even if one site is down, the others will continue to maintain the data. As regards the communication, that has been streamlined. This is the last briefing that we'll do as cabinet. Going forward, we will have media briefings that will be done by the government spokesman and the Director General of the KNBS. They will be doing this on a daily basis at 10 a.m. from the Media Briefing Center at Teleposta Towers. We do not expect anybody else to communicate on the census other than the 2 I have mentioned. For technical information, the county commissioners in the different counties will be able to provide information so that, for instance, if you want to know where the enumerators are, if you have any technical issues, they can provide. But on the progress of the census, that will be done, as I said, by the government spokesman and the Director General of the KNBS. We have set up a hotline number, which we have tested and is fully functional, and that is 0800 221 020, where anyone can call to get any information that you want regarding the census process, and we will be able to ensure that you're fully updated. The census process is distinctly different from the Huduma number process. If you recall, the Huduma number process was registering citizens with their biometric information so that we can have identification information on our citizens, a single source of truth. That exercise took place, and it took place, and we ensured that we have now data of our citizens. The census data is very different, because what we're doing is that we're not only getting the identification of citizens, but we're now enumerating a lot more information that we will use for our planning for the next 10 years as a country. We will be able to find out information, for instance, how many farmers we have, how many teachers we have, all the information that we need about the economy, about the development of the country, so that we are able to plan. The way we conducted the Huduma number registration, we had only about 31,500 devices that we were using across the country. It was registering people, and we took a period of 3 months to do the registration. The census exercise happens on the reference day, which is the 24th, 25th. This is Saturday night, and goes on only for 7 days. We have over 164,000 enumerators that are out there. And therefore, the two exercises are fairly different. The information that we get is very important for us in terms of our planning and ensuring that as a country we're going to develop even better. We will have questions later, but for now let me invite my colleague.
Is that one, this census is going to be carried in a digital way. In other words, we'll get data in real time, probably much more accurate than the one we have had in the past. And then secondly, we've taken about 3 years, which is longer to prepare than we've had in the past. I am absolutely convinced that our colleagues have prepared effectively and they have done mapping in all these areas, and no one has got any fear to care about, because our colleagues will be as accurate as possible. I do not think we should begin having suspicious debates about which party will be misrepresented and so on. The preparations that have gone into this are much more superior than we've had in the past, and I am convinced that we will have accurate data at the end of this exercise. We don't have any indication from anywhere in the country where there are likely to be challenges of one kind or the other, and I have no reason to believe personally, and from what our colleagues are doing, I can see clearly that we are going to have accurate data and accurate information coming through, and we should therefore move forward with that attitude. We shouldn't start from the point of saying there are likely to be challenges of this kind or the other. We have gone back and forth on this, and we are confident ourselves this is going to be an effective exercise. But I'm sure my colleague, the Minister for Planning, will add on something to that.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think the most important thing that is that we've learned a lot of lessons, and all those lessons have now led to where we are, making sure that we have adequate, timely preparation. For this purpose nowadays, back almost 3 years ago, all those safety measures have been put in place, including even where the number of households have already been identified. And during the actual counting, it will be very easy to know and also to translate how come that we have this number of households, and yet the number of people who are turned up are 10 times that number. So there are a number of checks in the process. My appeal to Kenyans is wherever they are, particularly the political leaders, let's not speculate about the outcome. The outcome depends on the availability. What we need to do is to make sure that, wherever we need to assist our people to be available for that time. We really want to assure Kenyans that we are going to deliver credible results, authentic results that's going to be used for posterity in terms of planning, in terms of resource allocation, in terms of all future undertaking, because numbers are critical. And planning is the essence of development. And we want to ensure that as a ministry, we are going to deliver credible results that are going to be utilized by the rest of governments, ministries, as well as also the private sector, including the totality, so that we are at a point of knowledge rather than speculation.
Essentially, that's your question. Our colleague.
My name is Brenda Terriot, reporter from K24. This is concerning residents from Northeastern have been raising concerns, like the 2009 census. The figures that were taken.
If you miss the first night, you have an opportunity to up to 31st. You know where the enumerators are. They are within the locality. They are not people from elsewhere, but from within locality of the sub-locations. Look for them. Make sure that they visit your homes so that you provide the necessary data. The information we are looking for is not necessarily about the physical count. There is so much that's going to go into that data for purpose of future planning, including the various forms of disabilities, the economic status, the kind of employment activities you're undertaking. Is so diverse, and it's going to help this country for a number of plannings and resource allocation at a later time when the data will have been fully analyzed.
country in the past. And we always do it this way. I don't understand why it would be a problem now. We do this. This is what we did during the previous census. We are asking you to accommodate this exercise. So, you know, whether it's a decree or an order, we're just splitting hairs over nothing, in my view. I mean, it's a straightforward issue. Because how else would you like to do it? And then I want to ask fellow Kenyans, surely this happens once in 10 years. Why do we really want to spend all our time on, you know, negative things? You know, everything that is done is interpreted this way, looked upside down, and so on. It's a straightforward exercise. We do this once in 10 years, and every time we have carried out census in the past, we always do it this way. We are now asking us to facilitate our colleagues to make it easier for the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics to count us. And then we are advising that it will be good for us to spare just those 2 evenings. Surely, even in terms of business, yes, I don't want to be insensitive. You may incur a slight loss. But surely, isn't that a sacrifice worth making for your country? The night visits, particularly your enumeration that will be done in households at night, is what will happen again at night on Sunday night in areas we will not have completed. Thereafter, it will be you know, a regular day exercise as we go along. So even on Sunday during the day, enumeration will be continuing. Secondly, the activities of Saturday night and Sunday night do not just affect those of us who go to social places. Social places are many. I know, and I'm saying this with tremendous respect and humility. I know some of our fellow Christians who are in Keshas and, you know, yeah, please, on this particular day, let us, you know, shift the prayers to our houses so that we can be counted as it were. Our colleague, the Cabinet Secretary for Education, yesterday and the day before, has been issuing instructions about the closure of schools. This affects all schools, I mean, public and private. And I'm saying this for purposes of emphasis so that, you know, we do not have any confusion. And I think the Ministry of Education has done the right communication. Now to your question, my dear. The question of security. Enumerators will be accompanied by security personnel. But first of all, the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics has done something very nice. No one has been hired to enumerate people outside of their sublocations, which means everyone who will be involved in this exercise are people who come from your area. In rural communities in Kenya, the chances are that those are people that almost everyone knows, because a sublocation is not a huge area. In the estates, chances are that there are people from the next block from where you stay. So there are people you would very easily know. And then chances are that over 80% of the people who are involved are people who are known in the localities where they are going to work. But because of that, of the fears of security, that's why elders are involved. Because these are people who would be known in the local sublocations. In the urban communities, it will be officials of the estate associations, people who are known in that particular area where they are conducting the enumeration. Thirdly, they will be accompanied by security officials who will be in full uniform and can identify themselves. You know, all police officers have got identification documents. They can identify themselves. So if they're not accompanied by village elders, they'll be accompanied by the assistant chief or the chief who will be in uniform, and they can identify themselves. And many Kenyans, I think, know their assistant chief and their chief. In the event that that enumeration group is not with the chief or the assistant chief, they will be with police officers who can identify themselves, or officials from Kenya prisons or anywhere else who can identify themselves as they move around with the teams, as it were. It is your right as a citizen to demand that those people identify themselves. That Kenyans need to know. It is your right to demand that those people identify themselves before you give them information. And all of them will be having identification document, so our people have nothing to worry about. So that has taken care of that aspect of security. One, when we start the exercise on Saturday at 6 p.m., we go on.
Who are really wondering, there's many people who are talking about security issues and wondering how do you tell that these people are actually? Yes, Asante. My name is Mel from MTV.
Security resources to wherever we feel they are needed most. And you saw early in the week, our Principal Secretary in charge of Interior issued a circular to ensure that all security personnel are on duty for the entire census period. So none of us in the security sector is going to be on leave. We're all on duty until this exercise is conducted and completed. Secondly, to ensure that we identify and know who is involved in this exercise, our county commissioners across all the 47 counties are issuing accreditation documents to observers or monitors of the census exercise. So if you are interested in observing or monitoring the census exercise, you have until 6 o'clock tomorrow, 6 p.m., to go to the county commissioner of the county you want to observe the exercise to obtain accreditation. The county commissioner will require you to fill out some forms and give him or her some information, after which the county commissioner will give you an identification document that you will carry around with you if you are not employed. So there are only 3 types of people we will have out on Saturday evening and on Sunday evening and for the rest of the 7 days. They will either be census officials employed through the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, either enumerators, content supervisors, and so on. Or 2, security personnel, our police officers, our assistant chiefs and chiefs, county commissioners, SECs, and all that. Or 3, monitors who must carry identification document given by the county commissioner as official monitors or observers of the exercise. Any other person is therefore not supposed to be involved in that exercise. And if they come around, our security personnel are well aware of what they would do with that person. We have requested our fellow Kenyans, and I want to say this with utmost humility. We are sorry for the inconvenience that is going to be caused to you because we ask that social places be closed at 5. But look, my friends, we are in this interesting situation. We have to do this census, and it's once in 10 years. Once in 10 years. So we are asking you, because under the law, social places like bars are open at 2 on Saturday. At a personal level, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but at an official level, let me say this, because I will not encourage you to drink. But anyway, at a personal level, I'm saying you can go have your drink between 2 and 5 o'clock. And more experienced people tell me that if you are not satisfied with beer for 3 whole hours, then there's a problem with you. So by 5, then, proceed home so that you can be counted. And you can also watch Liverpool and Arsenal play at home with your family. Maybe they will have a chance they rarely have of watching a football match with you. And then we'll do the same on Sunday. And then the rest of the week we'll carry on with our normal activities. And as I said, I know and we understand some members of our side, and we absolutely respect their feelings. Feel that, they would like to be out longer. It's understandable, and as public servants, we want to say we understand that. But we want to persuade you also to understand that we do this once every 10 years, and we have this situation which we really have to go through. So you'll be happy to enjoy your company and social drink and everything else until 5 on Saturday and on Sunday. Just this once in 10 years, so that we can conduct this exercise. And again, as a responsible public servant, let me say, I'm sorry for the inconvenience caused, but now we have to carry out the census. So please, do understand that we have to do this. Some people are asking me through social media, can we revise the decision? No, we will not revise it. We are going to carry out census between 6 p.m. on Saturday 24th and 6 a.m. on Sunday morning. And again, the exercise will resume, especially in households that will not have been visited, again 6 p.m. on Sunday to 6 a.m. again on Monday morning. That is what I have been asked and advised by my colleagues in the Ministry of Planning and the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. And for us in the security sector, our responsibility is to facilitate this exercise, and we are absolutely ready to participate to facilitate the exercise. So sorry for the inconvenience, but please bear in mind that it's only this once in 10 years. And in the life of a nation, is that one time when we all must take a little inconvenience here and there to facilitate an important exercise such as we are doing. We are not being insensitive, but we are also not going to revise the hours. We have worked on this for 3 years, making this plan, and let's not cause confusion. Let's go ahead. And for you, my good friends from the media, I need to emphasize this. No one, under the law, we can't, we cannot ban drinking, like the way some of you are reporting, that we have banned bars and, so on. You would think the world is coming to an end this weekend. No. We've just asked you to enjoy yourself until around 5. And 5 p.m., honorably, just go home and then be counted with your family. Then you can resume your business the following day again until around 5. Then you have all the time of your life to continue now enjoying, watch all the matches you want to watch, and drink all the things you want to drink as you go along. But we would have actually conducted the census those 2 days. So we are sorry for the inconvenience, but this is something that we have to do. Lastly, I need to say this. You've had His Excellency the President say this more than once recently. I want to ask our leaders across the country, especially political leaders. This is a straightforward census exercise, and let us allow it to be that. There are attempts, there are parts of the country where we have received a few reports. People are trying to do some funny games, asking people to move this way or that way. This is a modern country, and Kenyans are modern people who want to live according to the law. Let us now do this exercise with the decency that it requires. Some of these primitive habits that some of our political leaders have lived with for a long time, moving people around, hassling others and talking about this clan must be here and there. Let's stop these things. They are affecting the way in which our people live. Because I am aware, as I speak to you this morning, that we are following up certain of those kinds of activities in certain parts of the country. But I want to tell you, we are ready, because we are monitoring those things. We are watching you as you are trying to do those things, and we are aware of the meetings you had last night. And at an appropriate time, we will ensure that you meet with the law so that you are helped to live as a decent person and as a decent leader. But let us not disturb our people by trying to move people around in that kind of manner. But otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, we wish all of us the best, because this involves all of us. And I want to, on behalf of all these good people, take this opportunity to thank you for coming and thank our colleagues for the great work that has been done, and hope that we will complete this successfully in the next few days. Thank you very much, and I think we can take a few questions. Ladies and gentlemen, I think our role is to provide support to our colleagues at the Ministry of Planning and the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics to conduct the census exercise.